everybody, it is Calxiyn and Hunter here, and thank you for attending Calxiyn's Royal Court today, where we are going to tell you about a theory of what Salem will do with the Relic of Creation, so I hope that you guys enjoy it. And something that strikes me as really interesting about this is that they set up like Team RWBY being like, hey, you can do this, but you need an explanation for bending space and time, right, with the portals. Is bending space and time not just time travel? Like, can you not argue that? I understand that it was like to explain how people could get from one point or another, but like in a shorter distance than how it would actually take.
I think they bent space. I don't think they bent time.
But that's what they said, though. Ambrosia said, I just need an explanation for bending space and time. And then you got it, right? So I feel like that could have been, like, what, a Chekhov's gun or something? Like, that could have been a thing to introduce some RWBY time travel. Kind of. But yes,
don't bring RWBY into this.
I think that Salem may try to time travel, but it's not going to be as simple as you guys think, okay? So phase 1, right? Ambrosius needs a detailed explanation or a specific example in order to create, right? Like how Team RWBY says, a place like these vaults. Like, could Salem not say, make me a place like these vaults, but instead of time freezing, like when Ambrosius and Jin are summoned, it moves forward or backwards just for her? Because I feel like that she could ask that. I want a realm just like this one, but the opposite of freezing, and where time moves faster. Okay. Like, could she not ask that? Is that not a good enough detailed example?
I guess that's allowed.
Right, and so what I'm thinking is that she could ask for a realm where time moves faster, which means that she could get more questions from Jin, right? So this is phase 1, is that she could ask for this realm where time moves faster, and if Jin can answer a question every 100 years, right, what time is she bound to? Remnant time, or wherever she's present? Like, it could be like a little bit like of a loophole. So it's not just simply time travel. First, she has to get more questions from Jin, and she can get unlimited questions. This is why this relic, like, breaks the show if Salem finds enough loopholes, right? Because she could get, like, unlimited questions. But this is, like, kind of phase 2. Like, she could ask about where the Relic of Choice is, because that's what she kind of wants to know, and now she can't ask it, so she could speed up time to ask it. But I have, like, a whole other theory, right? I think that she could ask Ambrosius, right, like, to make this realm, and then use Jin as like an explanation or to ask a bunch of questions without the cooldown about going back in time and going back to a specific point of her life where she wants to return to. And I'm not gonna go too deeply into this because, like, I don't know what time travel is. Like, there's time travel where you go back and you see your past self, but then there's time travel where you go back and you are your past self. Yeah. And I don't know, like, I don't know.
Could she ask Ambrosius to just, if not time travel, to make a universe?
Make a new world. So that's exactly what I was actually getting at, Hunter. Because, like, if you guys, spoilers for Future Diary, which is like a show that's 15 years old. In Future Diary, there's a plot line where the god makes a World 2. And it's an exact copy of World 1. Yes. But, you know, there's a whole thing, right? And so that's what I'm sort of thinking. Maybe it's not time travel, but Salem makes, like, a World 2, and she can, like, show Ambrosius, like, I want a world that is exactly like Jin's image, and then she asks Jin to show her, like, what her life was with her children in Ozma, and that could be the explanation. Like, she could basically use Jin to feed Ambrosius explanations for her wish, which I feel like is so, like, galaxy brain. And so here's what I'm thinking, right? Again, I can't explain time travel. I don't know how the fuck this would work exactly, but what I'm thinking is that she is allowed somehow to make a whole, like, a universe copy, even if it's not necessarily real. Exactly. Copy paste. Use this world as an example at this time in history, right? And so she goes back and she wants to save her children from being killed in the fight with Ozma. Maybe she doesn't do the fight. Maybe she, maybe she just is more sneaky about her world domination. Maybe she gives up a little world domination, but it doesn't matter because they
give up a little world domination.
Exactly, a little world domination, right? But it doesn't matter because they die again. That's, like, the whole thing with this, is that it's kind of like Life is Strange, where even if you save Chloe from the gunshot, like, the universe keeps trying to kill her, like, the train tries to run her over. Like, it's kind of like one of
Final
those
Destination
things,
rules.
right? And so, even though, like, she keeps trying to go back, right? She keeps trying to go back. She can never save her children. She can never save Ozma. And, like, I don't know if, again, this is going to be she is her past self or she goes to talk to her past self. I really like the idea that she tries to talk to her past self and be like, do not go to the gods. Do not get us cursed. But then her past self doesn't listen, and her worst enemy is herself. Or she tries to go back to her past self and say, don't like get into the fight with Ozma, your children will die, but past Salem has no self-control. So it's gonna be this whole metaphor that like she's her worst enemy. Like every single time she cannot I guess she cannot take the advice of future Salem, and so like the incidents keep happening again, right? And so I feel like, you know, she tries to go back, right? She tries to you know, save her kids still die, they get a plague this time. She tries to save Ozma, like, you know, he gets hit by a deer, like it doesn't matter, like Ozma still dies no matter what, her kids still die no matter what.
Yes.
And so I feel like that if it is legit time travel, it'd be funny if she tries to go back to before she got cursed and the gods are just like, bro, what made you think that like we would allow you to do this? Like you know what I mean?
Oh
like,
yeah, and she goes
back
and she
tries to uncurse herself. Like first she goes back to her kids because she's like, I can deal with being cursed, I just want my kids back. She tries to do that, the kids still die. Okay, I can deal with this, but let me try like to go back and like save Ozma from like getting the cold in the first place.
So she goes back to some penicillin doesn't work, or he dies some other way.
Or he dies some other way. And then like, you know, she tries to do that a couple times to go back to before like she was cursed, and then the gods are just like, bro, like what are you doing?
That would be interesting if they do the before the cursed and then the gods show up, and it could be
the
a
gods
really
show up and it could be
creepy
scary
scene, where it's just like you can't escape from what you did.
I know. And so what I'm sort of thinking is
that
that
would be
they kind of
terrifying.
like send her back after so many failed attempts, right? Because she fails in all of these instances. She fails in all of these different timelines. And Ambrosia's kind of smugly is like, you really thought this would work? And she just becomes like enraged. And she's just like, this means that I was right all along. The only way I can lift my curse is by like calling the gods back to Remnant, right? And like making them destroy humanity. And I feel like that's like so interesting because it could be kind of a cool juxtaposition to like the other theory that we made.
And that could also be like a nightmare.
Oh yeah, it could be a
episode.
nightmare scenario.
That would be
well.
upsetting to have to watch.
Like I kind of have this idea for Team RWBY that their plot line will revolve around like the balance of life and death. Like, you know, we talked about the Hades and Persephone thing. And so I feel like that Salem story would run alongside this, and that would also kind of explain, like, some people are like, why doesn't Salem just win while Team RWBY's in the void? It could be because she's busy. Like, she's been trying to do this entire time, you know, and so she's kind of been kept busy. And so I feel like the whole message would be there's no way to change deaths that have already been fated. Like, even if Salem goes back in time or tries to create this World 2, right? Even if you make World 2 is still tied to the afterlife, and the afterlife has it set in stone when everyone will die, in a way. Like, it could be that sort of thing. And I feel like it's also, like, if she does see her past self and try to be like, do not go to the gods, bitch, and, you know, it doesn't matter. Even if Ozma dies, do not go to the gods. She'll be like, but I love Ozma. Of course I would go try to save, right? She would try to convince her past self, but her past self is like her
She tries
worst
to go
enemy.
and kill her dad, but she can't do that either.
Exactly. She can't kill her dad before it's the fated time. And so I kind of like that idea, and I like it too because a lot of people are like, oh my god, what if they go to the afterlife and they bring back Penny? And I'm like, no. Okay, Hades is not going to allow that if there is Hades, right?
Penny gets 2. Nobody gets 3.
Exactly. You know,
Okay.
Hades would just be like, bro, you already tried to do some weird shit with this situation, all right? I just imagine too when Team RWBY comes down there. I know this is about our other theory, but Team RWBY gets down there and Hades is just like, oh, you guys are the bitches that keep thinking you can reincarnate people. That's funny. Like, you know what I mean? He's just like, you know, I'm kind of impressed with this whole Penny thing that you tried to do, but let's not do that.
I really
again.
want, I really want Sassy Hades to do that.
Yeah, I'm sort of thinking that this is like a nightmare episode where she keeps trying to go back in time, and it's just more horrific than the last. Like, you know, she thinks she saved her children, but then they all die in the plague. So she keeps them confined to a tower like she was once confined.
But then they hate her.
And then they hate her. Right? Salem can never be happy. It can never work out for her. And then if she goes too far back, the gods are just like, what the heck are you doing?
The only thing that would be tricky about that is I guess, one, the budget for that episode would be crazy because you would have to think
but
of
you already
every...
have the kid assets.
You do, but
and
you
have
have
Ozma assets.
But you'd have to make adult whatever.
What do you mean?
If you see, like, the kids grow up over time.
But I'm saying that they would always die as children.
Okay.
Like, they would permanently be, like, if that's when they were supposed to die, they would never grow up. Like, that's sort of the idea,
but the issue is that you'd have to really do every causality, or then there would be some person, us, to be like, well, actually, why didn't she go and try to kill her dad?
Yeah, you know. But, like, they do have her castle asset. I don't think we ever saw the dad in 3D, but
no, but
I know budget can be like a thing, you know. But like,
money
remember
exists.
how Salem tried to like stab herself, but it was like in shadow?
Yes.
You could also have it that way too, so you wouldn't. You could just make a beefy man, but then not put any of his assets on. Like, you could do all of this in shadow or something, almost like a little puppet show. I know that sounds kind of weird, but like a little puppet show situation.
It's just Miles, Carrie, Eddie, and Kirsty just with sock puppets?
No, not like that, but like you could
hate you now, Mom!
You could make
I've become my father!
You could make the bodies of the models, but then not have to do any of their facial features if they're all in this weird shadow, you know, story.
We still needed one more Salem monologue. It's like, don't worry, give me some white face paint. Hello, I'm Salem.
No, but yeah, I think that this is interesting. I don't know how time travel works, but I feel like that this is gonna happen. I feel like, I don't know what explanation that this is gonna have. That's for the writers to figure out, okay? So yeah, that's our theory about it. Again, like, you know, I'm not trying to figure out all the time travel bullshit. That's for the writers to do. But I feel like that it could be possible, and it could also, really, when I wrote this, I was thinking about Madoka Magica. Like, again, spoilers,
the other show that hurt me.
for Madoka, I guess, so, you know, leave if you don't want to hear it. But, like, the fact that, like, the girl goes back and tries to save Madoka, and then she can't, and Madoka just gets more powerful every time.
That's kind of the same plot of Future Diary.
Exactly. Yeah, and so that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. Like, Future Diary, Madoka Magica realness, and Ambrosius is just like, bro, you really thought this was gonna go well for you? That's funny. I think that we could do with more sassy Ambrosius, right? Trying to, like, and I also like the idea of her kind of cheating and then using the time, the bending space and time explanation to get more questions from Jin, because I feel like that after all this is over, she would just be like, okay, where is the relic of choice? Like, that's what she would find. She would finally just ask the question she was going to in the first place, because there's no other choices now.
That's where the time dilation dust went.
I know, all the time dilation went.
Salem has been hoarding it.
Oh my god, that would actually be kind of funny though. Like, if that was part. Oh my god, what if that's part of the explanation?
Listen, if you watch the Hunter makes new RWBY canon video, you know why there's no more.
But imagine though that that's actually not the reason. But what if Salem brings it up because Ambrosius is like, well, you have to give me an example. I've seen this dust on Remnant, this time dilation dust. Is this not an explanation for bending space and time, or freezing, or speeding time up? And Ambrosius is just like, like, Ambrosius is like, I guess, why the fuck did the gods leave this here? Right? You know, so yeah, I love this theory. I think it's a very interesting idea. And it's funny because you all we were talking because he was like, I'm making a time travel theory, but I don't want to step on your toes, Cal, because I know you've been working on this since like July. And he did one, but it's Team RWBY. Team RWBY has to keep going back in time to stop Salem, and they failed a bunch of times. Yes. That was like his idea, which I also love that idea too, is that like they arrived to the island and the God in light and darkness are there. That was like his thing. Obviously, we think that the Hades and Persephone are gonna be there, but like the God of darkness is just like, back again, RWBY, and like RWBY has no idea like what he's talking about, so they've gone back in time too. So I kind of like, this is kind of the reverse. It's like the villain. It's like Salem going back instead of Team RWBY, which I think is really cool. Look at us, guys, our minds. Go subscribe to You All Right. I think that's it for us for today. I hope that you guys enjoyed this one, and we will see you next time. Thank you for attending Calxiyn's royal court, and let's
and remember not to make a deal with God.
Yeah, don't make deals with God. Deals with God don't go very well, okay?
Kate Bush taught us that.
I know that this is kind of random and I should just end the video, but I was looking up something on Tumblr because somebody drew me like art like 4 years ago, so I was looking up Calxiyn, and somebody has me on a list of like life quotes to live by, and one of them is, don't shake somebody's hand when their hand is glowing, and I guess I said that in a video, and that was like quotes to live by. Don't make a deal with the cat, okay? No Cube. So yeah, that's it.